Hello everyone, and welcome to this third video in our series about editing content directly on your PS4 using ShareFactory. Today we're going to be looking at how we edit text and how we add titles. So I've got a scene set up of a Monster Hunter World event quest here, and I've added a blank space, which I'll show you in a future video how to do that. But for now, what I want to do is add a title to this part. So I'm going to press X and I'm going to add an overlay. Okay, so we have multiple types of overlay here on the left, but what I want to do is add some text. So we can choose the type of text we want. There's lots of different things around here. I'm going to go probably for something a bit, old and sort of papery, which will fit with the Monster Hunter World aesthetic. And I'm going to call it Whoever thought it was a good idea to write text on a console, am I right? So I've got this here, and I've got the duration set. So I can then actually move things around. So what I'm going to want to do is, using the left stick, I can select my text here from the list, and whoops, wrong one. When I've selected it, I can press square to edit it. So I'm first going to transform it, okay? And I'm going to put it somewhere in the middle here. And the other thing I'm going to do in transform is use R1, so the top right trigger, to edit the size. L1, the top left trigger, will make it smaller, right? And you can also rotate it with the lower triggers, but I don't need to do that right now. Once it's ready, I can actually use the square button to align it to make sure it's centered perfectly. It's a pretty practical tool. Then I go ahead and press X. We can change the color. So I'm going to try and make this a bit beige-ish, sort of going off memory here, trying to recreate the colors of our theme, but I think that's a pretty good beige. And then we have lots of other options. So we can go with text effects, which will, add a border and give it fancy styles. I'm not particularly interested in this right now, but I might want an animation. So we can animate it so that it's, shimmering throughout. You can have bouncing and pretty cool things. I don't want to go with anything too fancy here, but I want to add a fade in and a fade out. I'm not quite sure which one, but I might find something nice. Maybe a fly in. I know it's a bit much, but it's kind of nice. This one's nice too. So you sort of browse around and find the one you want, okay? So, I think I'm going to go with the fly in. Kind of flashy, but I like it, okay? And for the end animation, I'm just going to have it nicely fade out, okay? So that's done. I can go back. And now what I'm going to want to do is change the text duration, because that allows me to place it within my clip. So I can then move it around and have it in a nice coherent fashion. So I'm going to have this one start just a few milliseconds in, right? Because before it, I'm going to be adding another text. So now I'm going to cut to where I've added all my texts using this method. And we're going to show you something else in just a sec. And I'm back. So here's the result. As you can see, pretty flashy, looks great. Now what I'm going to do is actually show you what that does in a situation where we want to place text, but we actually have a background. So we need something to sort of blend in and look maybe a bit subtle, right? Because what we're going to do here is indicate information over an existing video, not just a black background. So I'm going to do the same thing, add an overlay. I'm going to choose a plainer style, something simpler to make it easier to read. I like this font. It's a really simple one, nice and easy, okay? So I'm going to write my text. I'll see you in just a sec. And there we go. So I've created my text and I've positioned it, but there's two problems. First of all, I had to do it in two text elements to be able to put it on 2 lines. That's sort of a fault of the program, but you can manage with that. It's perfectly doable. And the next bit is it's actually kind of hard to read. So what I'm going to do here is edit this first one. And, oops, sorry, not the text. I'm going to go into text effects, and I'm going to give it a black border. That's going to help with readability. It's going to make it a bit cleaner. The other thing I can do is try and fiddle around with color. See if there's something that can help make it sort of stick out from the background. So if I go with one of the 2 colors we're using for our design, which is going to be something around here, maybe a bit darker, maybe a bit bluer. This, surprisingly enough, is actually going to be easier to read than the default white. It's not perfect, but it's better. So then I'm going to do the same for the other one, and actually the colors are saved here on the right, which is nice for reusing them. Then text effects, go into this one, and now we have something that's a bit nicer and cleaner, and we can actually read it. So then I'm just going to set my durations, etc. I think they're good by default. I'll check that later, but that's it for today. You can now place text, move it around, have fun with it, change its color, its transitions, and I'm sure you'll figure all the rest out by yourself. Thanks a lot, and see you in the next video. Bye!